Welcome. This is a recorded session of the Post-Quantum Cryptography Conference of the PKI Consortium, which took place in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This conference is made possible through the support of the PKI Consortium Post-Quantum Cryptography Working Group and our sponsors SSL.com, Entrust, Keyfactor, HID, and Crypto4A. And with exceptional organizational support from SSL.com, Keyfactor, Logius, POS Digicert, Baker Tilly, MSC Trustgate, and Digitoris. Join the discussion. Join the PKI Consortium. Go to pkic.org/join.
Here we go. So, if you haven't had a chance to meet James, and if you're not all that familiar with Sandbox AQ, you should be. But James has a really fantastic background, head of cryptography at Sandbox AQ. And I think the A stands for AI and the Q stands for quantum. We're going to go with that. And you lead the cryptography team at Sandbox AQ, overseeing research and serving as the company's SME on cryptography. So I won't read your entire bio, but you've done a few things in your career, and for over 10 years, you focused on hardware and software implementation, side channel security, and practical application of advanced crypto. So to say you fit in here is an understatement. So without further ado, I know you've got 25 minutes, and we'll leave some time for questions and answers at the end, and then it's beers and goodbyes for some of you. So how about it?
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, thank you all for sticking around for the very last talk of the day. Yeah, I'm James Howe. I'm head of cryptography at Sandbox AQ. So I'm here today to talk to you about adding intelligence to the PQC migration, going from noise to clarity. So am I in the way? I didn't design these slides to be standing in front of them. So yeah, just at a high level, we'll be talking today about inventory and discovery of cryptography assets. So we're going to be talking about how to build up your inventory to be wide and deep. And then once we have that like noisy raw inventory, we'll talk about how to filter that down in order for you to see the cryptography that you care about. And then we're going to also announce something really cool, which I'll get to near the end. So this is something that probably everyone has on their slides. Mine's slightly different. So there is obviously a lot of mandates and recommendations from governments and from agencies on migrating to post-quantum. They're all effectively saying, like 99 times out of 100, they're all saying that inventories are an essential part of that. So the NSM 10 from the White House, the UK NCSC, recently we had the Australian agency as well saying you have to start with a complete inventory. The EU roadmap also says it's an essential step and a no regret move for every organization. There was even one I saw last night from MasterCard that said every financial institution needs to start with a cryptographic inventory. So this is a really clear first step, and it's part of everybody's PQC migration. But this is not as easy as it sounds as I'm saying it. Like for large organizations in particular, they have vast distributed IT environments. They have numerous legacy systems and lots of legacy cryptography. They have fragmented software. They have different versions of different types of software all over the place. And they have a ton of different types of hardware. And for large organizations that have been around for decades and decades, this technical debt has been building. And as I said, my discovery and inventory is an essential part of the migration, but crucially, you can't migrate what you don't know. So how do we build up this really deep picture of our cryptography? One of the things that you can really leverage is tools that companies already have. So these CMDBs. So you're talking like Qualys, CrowdStrike, ServiceNow, Palo Alto. This one's AWS Key Management. I don't know why it disappeared. You have C-bombs as well. These are really cool ways to ingest data. And building upon these tools can help you build this holistic view of all of the cryptography that you have. And this is something that companies often already have. So you can piggyback on these tools and get the cryptographic data that you need to build your cryptographic inventory. This is one of the big lessons that we learned this year effectively at Sandbox. We were dealing with lots of customers, and we have our own sensors that do file system scanning, network scanning, application scanning, but these take a lot of time to get approved by your customers. They take time to install, and they also need maintaining. And this effectively goes to zero if you piggyback on the tools that they already have. And you still effectively build a really clear, good picture of the cryptography that customers have. And we effectively moved from what we thought we needed to what customers actually wanted. And this really significantly increased the value that the customers saw in the product. The time to value was much better. So we have a way to build the data up now. We have a way to sort of get a complete view of the cryptography that people have. Now we want to filter out the noise. Now we want a real picture of everything that we have. And this is quite difficult. We have, if you think about just a naive, clean Windows installation, you're talking 200 to 300 keys and certificates. Each application you have is going to have 1 to 10 more cryptographic objects. You'll have infrastructure there. You'll have load balancers and firewalls. All of these per node will have another 5 to 10 objects. And this is just your third-party software supply chain. This is not even talking about the internal applications that you have within a company. And yeah, for large organizations especially, this just builds and builds and builds. And the noise that I was talking about, these things that you need to filter out, these are things like weak keys in developer sample codes, deprecated CAs and trust stores, certificates managed by applications that you have no control over, legacy root certificates using deprecated signature algorithms, and weak cipher suites from APIs that your organization consumes. These are all things that are going to come up in your inventory that you just have no control over, and they're just going to create noise and just overload and overburden the developers and engineers that are going to actually have to do this PQC migration. So we need to find a way to remove this noise. So the way we do that is effectively by adding more intelligence. So you can build up a database, gather data of this publicly known cryptography. So searching and gathering data online from publicly known assets from operating systems, containers, applications, packages, etc. You can build a view of the state of the cryptography required for these third-party softwares. You can also you can enrich. You can know by path, by location, by whether it's a common CA. You can glean all of this data from the internet and use this data to filter out all of the cryptography that you find in your inventory. And the process of elimination will then give you the cryptography that are in your internal applications and stuff that you really need to care about. And by doing this, you basically get context of the cryptography that you have, and this reduces the noise, and you finally answer that question, whether is this cryptography mine, and do I care about it? So we transform the raw, naive, kind of useless cryptographic inventory into something that's actionable, and enables you to prioritize and actionize your steps on your PQC migration. And this effectively takes significantly reduces the time as well that the migration will take and an inventory will take. You're going from weeks to days, years to weeks, years to months. You're saving significant amount of time here as well. And again, like the alert fatigue that developers and engineers will face is significantly reduced here, so they can really prioritize on the things that they should be working on. That builds all of this into the thing I was alluding to in the beginning, which was the announcement. So I was talking about a database of public cryptography, and this is something that Sandbox today has released. So we've released a website called opencryptography.com. This is the website. This is the database that I was talking about. This is a collection of cryptography that we found on Docker image scans. So the first version of this will be roughly about 15,000 scans of the official Docker Hub images. You'll see different views of this by inventory. This is showing it by issue. So you can see in terms of like the rule, which would be like a short RSA key, for example, and you can see everything that belongs to that rule. You can also see it by object, like here you can see by certificate or by key, and you can see all the issues that come along with it. You'll see like a total number of cryptographic objects. You'll see how many of those have critical or high issues. And you'll be able to see like what we call like a way back. So this is like the history of this Docker Hub image. So you can go back in time and you can see like how the cryptography has changed inside the Docker Hub image over time. We kind of see a number of different personas that might find this useful. So let's say you're doing your own cryptographic inventory. You see that, let's say a Docker Hub image or an application or a package is causing issues, is giving you a lot of critical and high issues. Does updating that software resolve any of these issues? You might be able to see and go ahead and go sooner in time. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, then maybe you need to complain. Maybe you need to write to some people and say, hey, can you update this? Can you remove this? Or maybe you need to search for an alternative software that does the same thing. This is also good for like the maintainers of these Docker Hub images, packages, applications that might not know about the issues that they have inside. And they can actionize that into newer versions. We have feedback feature at the top there, so you can give us feedback. You can see, you might find bugs, issues. We like compliments as well, but there's ways to give us feedback in terms of like what you would like to see next. So I think preceding versions of this website will continue to focus on like Docker Hub images. So the ones we're focused on initially have been, the official ones. So those will have like millions or billions of views of polls. So we're gonna like extend that to the next more popular verified Docker Hub images. But yeah, we're looking for feedback as well. So please give us some. Please go ahead, use the website, try it out. I'll be here afterwards as well. If you have any thoughts, questions, I'll be happy to answer anything. I think that's everything I wanted to say about this. Just the final slide, just summarizing. So building up your inventory and then filtering it out is possible. you can do this yourself. You can use other tools. And yeah, this will enable you to sort of elegantly go through the PQC migration. It'll allow you to see the things that you should care about, and then just enable you to sort of prioritize the remediation part of it. Happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, James. That was fantastic. For those who don't know, I'm pretty biased about crypto discovery, primarily because I'm a big believer, and probably started in with companies like yourselves a few years ago talking about this. And I know that Jaime in the room and others, and I think Bruno and a few have talked openly about how important this is. We're going to get to some questions in a second, but I'm going to just start off with one of my own, which is, as you've seen this market evolve in your experience, where do you see cryptographic discovery and C-bombs on the priority list of your customers? And say, even I'll give it over the last year, have you seen a trend or a change in the acceptance? Or can you share your thoughts on that?
There's two reasons why somebody might take an inventory and discovery. It's like, obviously part of that is the PQC migration, but some of it is also down to just modernization of the cryptography that they have, and I think that's also really important. And it's like something that people can do continuously and should keep doing after the PQC migration. They might still keep using bad cryptography. I don't know if I've seen any sort of strong trend in the last year or so. I think a lot of it comes down to mandates, recommendations, and things like that. So as they keep coming out, I think we'll see, more trends. There was recent changes with DORA and PCI DSS, for example. So they're going to have probably impactful changes for at least the financial industry. But yeah, I think things like that are going to, I think more stuff like that might be needed in order for major change in certain verticals.
Thank you. Any questions from the floor before we go to JJ?
Yeah, there's one down here.
All right. Thank you, James. I think it's a wonderful. I'll try to keep it up. I was wondering, for the open cryptography project, in what kind of format can the data be extracted? Is it something that can only be consumed by the Sandbox AQ tooling, or is it something that could be more widely consumed by other tooling as well?
Yeah, for the moment, it's just going to be like a website that people can access and browse. But in the future, we might think about having like downloadable JSON or API access or something like that. It's something we're going to explore. I think it depends on whether it's popular, it catches on, things like that.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions on the floor? There's nothing remote, so.
Well, and I've got a couple more, but someone's got one. See the microphone going across. Thank you for saving us.
Oh, cool idea. Thank you. So logically, this then also should apply to things like GitHub and the various repositories like that. So there's a strong case to be made that actually GitHub itself should be providing this, if you like, this scanning, because it's got all the artifacts already, it's got all the tooling to deal with them, that this is the sort of thing that we should be embedding into repositories, not just Docker Hub, but also GitHub and various other tooling.
Yeah. I think having some sort of like CI/CD tool that could be built into your infrastructure is definitely worth having. Like, I've heard horror stories of private keys being put on GitHub, so like that's definitely something that people shouldn't do. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So based on Sig's comment, when Microsoft, GitHub, and Santander created the CryptoBomb Forge tool, the open source tool for cryptographic discovery in code, GitHub did spend a lot of effort in evaluating. I'm talking from the back of my mind because this is 2 years ago. the top 5,000 public GitHub repositories. And in the announcement that was done, it was in GitHub's website. There were some stats. I don't know if beyond the stats there can be more detailed data, but that's something I could ask. By the way, congratulations, because I think this is a great initiative.
Thanks.
I think you get from the room that this was a fantastic announcement to drop in this room to kind of rise what all of us were thinking or hoping. Before we all jump out of here, as I said, my bias extends for a long time on this subject matter, but we hear the good, maybe the not so good. What sort of, I guess the right word we often hear is blind spots are you seeing, and how are organizations working together to address those blind spots? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I haven't seen too much like companies working together, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, blind spots. I'm guessing they exist. They're I guess by definition they're quite hard to find. So I don't know any really off the top of my head. I mean, there's going to be struggles with like hardware tokens, things like that.
Right.
They're going to be like very difficult to do, like HSMs, things like that, I think.
Well, there's a couple HSM people in here
Yeah.
that can answer to some of that. One of those is that exposing HSM data and information, and Bruno can talk all day long about this, about why you don't want to give unfettered access to HSMs through PKCS 11, for example, which is a great standard. But do you want somebody reaching into your HSMs and extracting information and having security officer rights and so on? So exposing metadata for HSMs is one example of blind spots that we're seeing happening and working. Most of the vendors are working in a great way to do that. But I think I just want to echo that there's no magic wand that you've seen, and we all appreciate that. And as the products and solutions become more sophisticated, and this room is a great example of how they contribute to that. And looking at Jaime, because I think he knows as much as anyone in the room about what to do when you do crypto inventory and what to avoid, lessons learned. So thank you for your input. Thank you for all the work you're doing. I think everyone would love to congratulate you for doing something in the public domain as what you've done. And if there's any other questions, Paul, I know you're coming up to wrap things up. Anyone going once? Oh, question? Yes, please, sir.
Great work. I'm just curious, how do you prioritize? Maybe I missed it because I joined a bit late. Sorry if you've already spoken about that. But how do you curate or prioritize catalog of Docker images that you scan? So is there a rationale behind how you've prioritized these images that you have as a part of this open?
Why did we start with the ones that we did for the website? It was just I think they're the most popular ones. They're like if you go on the website, you can see like how many times they've been pulled, and they're in the order of billions sometimes. So we started with those just because they're popular, and so we'll probably just work down the list after that. After like the more popular ones after that. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
JJ, did you have another one?
Yeah, another one's coming here. Few secs, James from Wasim. So two questions actually. So what is the full scope of ActiveGuard's cryptographic asset discovery? So does it cover all of the network traffic, applications, runtime calls, file systems, containers, images, and binaries? And then another question, well, I'll get to this. I'll get to the next one. Just go for those two first. So the scope of the cryptographic asset discovery.
I'm not usually in sales calls, but some of those, I think, and some of the others that were mentioned, we're working on those, like binaries, for example. They're something that are quite difficult, but they're on the roadmap. There's something I could definitely talk to that person with at some point.
All good. Then next question is, So how does it handle legacy systems? So for example, embedded devices, older OSs, monolithic libraries, etc., when the instrumentation may be limited?
What was the first part?
How does it handle legacy systems, basically? So, embedded devices, older operating systems.
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
So this is the SaaS product. So we won't be currently looking at embedded things, but effectively it's agnostic to anything else. It's looking at keys and certificates. So it doesn't really depend on anything else apart from finding those. So
We're getting awfully close to hitting time right on the money, Paul. But I'm going to take this quick opportunity to just put a couple, just to Paul and Chris and Sven and everybody here pulling this together. I have this rare opportunity to say something before Paul jumps up here and kicks me off. An amazing job by this entire team at the back pulling this together. So I just wanted to say, everybody here who's still left, if you just want to give them a round of applause. Paul, over to you. Thank you, James.
Thanks. Well, thank you, Blair.